Welcome to Mother's Narrative Network. Before we begin, please like and subscribe. Reassure me, what's the worst thing your DCS have said in public? Whilst feeding DS2, 11 weeks, early this morning, DS1, 2.1 years, was watching the tweenies and the characters were pinching each other. He and I chatted about how pinching is naughty, etc. We went to the post office at lunchtime, where he proceeded to lie on the floor screeching, "Don't pinch me, mummy," at the top of his voice, because I had intervened in his attempts to empty a huge display of cotton reels. I obviously wasn't pinching him, and hopefully people could see that, but it sounded as if that is what I usually do. Reassure me that your DCS have said similarly embarrassing things. I wanted the ground to swallow me up, said, "I would never pinch you, sweetheart," and left as quickly as a toddler, 11-week-old and mum can do. I am just getting in the bloody pram, outside preschool, in front of assembled parents and teachers. Is that man having a baby? In a cafe, loudly, about a man sitting at the next table, "Mummy, I think I have another wormy coming out of my bum today," loudly, at soft play, we left. All of these are DD4, in the last few weeks. By the way, I didn't take my worm-infested child to soft play. She has been treated and is clear. However, getting worms was the most thrilling thing that has happened to her since I crashed the car on the nursery school gates. So she won't let it go. When my friend was about 6, he fell over and cracked his head open on a fireplace. When at the hospital the doctor asked him, "Gosh, how did you do that?" and he replied, "Daddy pushed me." Apparently his dad wasn't even home when it happened. Friend's mum was mortified and feared she would have social services knocking any minute. My toddler shouted on a train, "Look at the lambs in the field, you cut off their heads and peel off their skin, don't you, mummy?" WTF. This was 6 years ago and I still cringe, and no, I don't cut lambs' heads off, or peel their skin for that matter. Mummy said a bad word. Mummy said shush it. DH was tickling DD on the tummy earlier while we were in the park. A nice lady said that it looked like fun. DD, who is 2.11, shrugged and said yes, usually he punches me. He does no such thing. She also chirruped in the swimming pool family changing room a couple of months ago, "What a lovely big willy you have, Daddy." I'm going to stop taking her out, I think. DD1 asked a somewhat portly lady to please excuse her so she could get past. Then she came over to me and said, "Mummy, I said excuse me to that lady." "Yes you did, DD1, says I, feeling very proud of my well-mannered daughter. "Mummy, I said excuse me," and she moved her big fat bottom. In a post office queue, "Mummy, that lady's got a mustache, just like Daddy's." Also in a PO queue, my 3-year-old said to a 30-something man in front of us, who was mostly bald and graying where left, "Hello, Grandad." Mummy dropped DD2 in the river, DD1 to her preschool teacher, on her first day. Not the strap, Mummy, no, DD2, as I tried to strap her into her pushchair in Waitrose. She had just tried to leg it out of the door into the road. "Mummy, you did a big smelly poo," DD2 on leaving the toilet in lovely cafe, full of people, that we will sadly never return to. OMG, you think that's bad, OP. How's this, Mummy WHY, have you got a fat hairy mini? Mini being our word for girls' bits. In Waitrose. Maybe if we'd been slumming it with the proles in Asda it wouldn't have been so bad. In a crowd, having just used a public toilet, DD, then 9, asked in a loud voice, "It says in that toilet back there that Kirsty Blaine is a gunt. What's a gunt? And who is she?" Ground. Swallow. Me? Up please. OP, you are lucky. MYDS recently told his grandparents, after being asked how the drive down was. "Fine, but there was a stupid wanger at the roundabout." Shock horror, as I never swear, apart from when somebody is about to smash into my car. So now wanger is a favorite word of ours. Then there was the other day, when he began to point out plump people. after being told it's not nice to call people fat. Not my DC, but my sister, aged 5 at the time, said to her teacher, "My mummy doesn't like your haircut." Didi mortified me at the weekend. We were in Maxid's, and a family of Chinese appearance walked in. She stands on her chair and points at them. Didi, incredibly loudly, "Mummy, those people are not from our country." Me, Didi, "Don't point, it's rude." Didi, with volume increase, "But mummy, they are not from England, they are not from here." Me, trying not to combust with embarrassment, "SSH, it's rude to point, of course they are from here." Didi, "No, mummy, they're not from here, look at them, they're not English, they look different. Look at how their eyes are different." Me. I eventually got her to lower her voice, and it transpired that she has been doing a project in school about where your family originally comes from, and as one of her classmates is of Chinese origin, she was simply trying to show off her newfound knowledge of where this other family, who either didn't notice, or thankfully decided to ignore the mini-Nick Griffin ranting at them, originated from. God, I wanted the floor to open and swallow me up. She has also loudly argued the toss with me on a train, that the lady cleaner in our carriage was actually a man, said lady had V. short Irish mammy haircut, and was V. tall and thin, much to my mortification. I've posted this before on these threads. DS1, about 2, trip to Bird World. Granny bought him 2 stuffed birds, painstakingly advised him at length that they were a blackbird and a cockatoo. Next day, shopping in Croydon, new favorite toys along for the day, mistakenly left the cockatoo in the car. Cue frantic dash down main shopping parade back to car park, with DS1 shouting and screaming at top of his lungs, "Blackbird want co-PCK, Blackbird want co-ok." When I was little, about 3ish I think, my young auntie taught me to say slap head. On the bus one day with my mam, a bald man sat down in front of us. I promptly shouted at the top of my lungs, "Slap head," and tapped him on the head. Needless to say, mam was mortified. DS, learning to read, went through a phase of sounding out any and every word he could see, standing in queue at Boots, and he spots something in the basket of chap in front that catches his eye. D-U-R-E-X-D-U-R. "Mummy, what does that say? Is it Drex?" "What's Drex? Is it sweets in that box? Can I have some please?" Red-faced bloke in front and stifled sniggers from people behind. Oh, and then questioning me as to why I needed to buy Anusol loudly. Didi has verbal dyspraxia, so I forget I have a parrot that very occasionally repeats what I say with amazing clarity. I so wish that the last time she bumped her head I didn't say, "Oh, please don't make me send you to school with another black eye, it sounds so great." Every time she bumps herself she wails, "Please mummy, don't send me to school with another black eye." Most of what she says is unintelligible, but why oh why is this clear as day? I've just remembered that my own brother embarrassed my mum at a chiropodist by farting and then saying, "Mummy," as if it were her who had done it. I feel reassured by the way, and think post offices are clearly places to avoid with toddlers in tow. Didi, aged about 2, at dinner table when on holiday in a big group of families. She was chatting in nonsense words to a friendly teenager whom we knew slightly. He says, "Oh, you are such a funky monkey," to her. She thinks carefully, then says clear as a bell, "You are a monkey gunt." A word we have never used and she has never heard. PMSL, as did DH, and luckily all other families who were there. Poor teenager was mortified though. DS1, aged about 3, in middle of local post office. "Mummy, look at the big fat man. Why does he have so many chins?" DS2, aged about 2, in checkout queue at our local Asda. "Poo smelly man," complete with pointing to the rather fragrant older gentleman standing in front of us in the queue. In a busy cafe when a very obese man walked past us, DS4 laughed and shouted out, "Mummy, look at that man, he's huge. How did he get in here?" Shush. Followed by, "Look, he's going to the toilet. How is he going to fit on the seats?" He did have a point, but he is very loud and clear. I can think of loads. I'm pregnant and my nipples are quite dark now. We were in the swimming pool changing room. DD2, 6, Mammy, why are your boobies black now? Me SSHHH, it's for when I feed the baby. DD2, does it come out of your tuppence? DD1, 11, it's actually called a vagina. DD2, a vagina. Me SSHHHHHHHHH. DD2, vagina, ha 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 ha. I waited a little while before emerging from the cubicle. DD2 informed me loudly in the middle of a shop the other day that she never wanted me to die. I said, oh, that's lovely, darling. She said, I never want anyone to die. Oh, isn't she cute? Looks from fellow shoppers. Apart from fat people, because they eat too much. My mum tells me that we had been learning about people getting out and dying one day, and the following day I piped up very loudly on a bus full of older people, all these people are going to die soon, aren't they? I'm dithering between two occasions. When DS was 3 he had a lot of problems putting his pants the right way around. So every morning we had the endless argument to get them to wear them the right way. Then one day was in an overcrowded fitting room when DS says, DS, Mum, you have your pants the other way around. Me, no, I don't. DS, yes you do. Me, no I don't, can we talk of other thing? DS, you do. It went on for what felt like a lifetime. The other occasion was when he was 5 and one day, again fully surrounded by people in a Christmas ornament store, DS comes, gives me a hug and says, Mum, I don't care if you slept with hundreds of men, I love you. Obviously, I was on the phone immediately asking my ex if he had been using Mama MIA as a babysitting device. Not mine, thankfully, but I was in a big MFI type place with a friend and her 2 kids, helping her choose a kitchen. She took her DS, who must have been about 3, into the ladies with her, and I took her older DD across to the other side of the shop to look at some girly bedroom displays. A couple of minutes later the toilet doors opened and her DS absolutely bellowed across the shop at me in a voice that would have put Brian Blessed to shame. Mummy just did a great big poo in there and it stank. She bought her kitchen somewhere else. DS 8. To a mother in the schoolyard as reported by my friend, no, your son can't come to our house again, because my mummy wouldn't like it. Last time he came she told me to never ask for him to play again. He's rude and has no table manners, but that's not really his fault, because he must have learnt it from you. My DD1 sat on the loo in the men's toilets, at age about 20 months, out with DH on her own, and sang a song of her own making, which said something like, I wee-ish, I hard a wee I yili. DH said he had to wait, until he was sure there was no one there until he opened the cubicle door. DD1. In Gatwick. Waiting on flight to North Africa. Group of Muslim ladies with headscarves. Mummy. Look at those silly girls, they are playing hide and seek, but they are doing it wrong. One of you has to count. They are silly, aren't they, Mummy? On the flight. Mummy, that man in front did a fartpants. But he did and it smells. Blur. Yuck. 4-hour flight. This is why we don't go on holiday. Oh, and she called her sister a cheeky wee bitch the other day in Tesco. God know where that came from. Thank you for watching Mother's Narrative Network. Please like, comment, and subscribe before watching these other videos.